Welcome to Blood, Guts, and Booze.
I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kendrah. And this is a comedy podcast here to frighten you and make you question the world that we live in. So sit back with your favorite snacks and let's dive into this. Listener discretion is advised, as these podcasts are not for the faint of heart, nor are they PG.
Welcome back, Boo Crew. It's Olivia here.
And Kendrah as always.
Oh yeah. And it's Easter weekend. Fun.
That means that the Easter Bunny is coming to break into your home and leave, candy for your kids, because that's not creepy.
With a mask on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wonder if the Easter Bunny wears masks. Did Santa at Christmas?
I would hope so.
I've always find that
unless
concept...
unless that's how COVID got passed around.
Fucking Santa Claus. I've always thought about that, though. Isn't it just kind of a creepy concept that you let someone... you tell your children someone's breaking into our home and leaving you presents? Other than
or
Santa...
chocolate.
Other than Santa and the Easter Bunny, that's creepy.
Like the Tooth Fairy? Ooh.
Does she wear a mask? That's how COVID is spread, because it's right in your mouth.
I should do a case on the Tooth Fairy.
All right.
Okay.
So what's your case today, though?
Today is about Annabelle.
Ooh.
Yes. Creepy.
And the real story, right? Not the fucking movie.
No. The movie is... I was reading that the movie actually added a lot of stuff into it for theatrical...
Well, yeah, they all do.
Half of it's real, half of it's not. But today, I'm going to tell you the real story.
Excellente.
So, Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll with an adorable moppy red hair and a slight smile. She is known for doing demonic things. She has had 2 near-death experiences and 1 fatal accident.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the original haunting happened for about a year before the Warrens actually became involved. Well, Ed and Lorraine Warren, they're famous occult and paranormal investigators. Lorraine is actually a medium clairvoyant.
Didn't one of them die last year?
They're both passed now. Lorraine just passed in 2019, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I'm still 2020, so it's last year.
So it all started when a student nurse named Donna was given the doll as a birthday gift in 1970 by her mother. The reason her mother got her a doll is because Donna was obsessed with dolls. Donna even put a bracelet on Annabelle and began to treat her like a baby or a young child.
Creepy.
Just a little creepy.
And a grown-ass adult wanting a doll,
Yeah. I know people that have, Barbie obsessions, and they collect Barbies and keep them in the boxes.
Stop telling my secrets.
Yeah. But, I also, too, have a lot of ceramic dolls and porcelain dolls that my Mimi has given me since I was a child.
I don't collect dolls. They're action figures. God.
The G.I. Joe. So, after having Annabelle for a while, they started to have weird and strange things happening. They would leave her on the couch or their beds, and she would be sitting normally, and they would return moments or hours later and find her with her legs crossed or in different positions around the house.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh, we need a soundboard. So Donna and her roommate Angie would find notes written in pencil on parchment paper in children's writing. They would find these notes around their house, and they would read, "Help me" or "Help Lou." Lou is Angie's boyfriend / fiance. I've read a couple different sources on that. Yeah.
Her man. Squeeze.
Her man.
Okay.
They even came home once to find drops of blood on the back of Annabelle's hand and some drops on her chest.
Ugh.
Yeah. The girls started to place tape over the doors and move their carpets and rugs in certain positions just to see if somebody was breaking into the house. They would know if the tape has been moved or the carpets have been bunched up.
Yeah, like the old tape a piece of hair to the back of your door trick.
Like when we were in school on school trips and they had to do that shit. They did that when we went to Quebec City on a school trip in grade 8.
Oh, really?
Because it was like a co-ed hotel, right? Like, you know, so they had no choice but to keep like girls in a certain area, boys in a certain area. And they would put tapes on the outside of our door to make sure that, to know if we had sneaked out at night.
Make sure you weren't commingling and doing the dirty in Quebec.
Yeah, at 13 years old. Yep.
Because Quebec is such a sexy city.
Well, I think they just didn't want us sneaking into the boys' room or vice versa.
They also probably didn't want y'all sneaking out and, like, getting lost and murdered.
True.
Or else, you know, I could be covering
We,
your case
yeah,
about you.
yeah, we'd be on the podcast on the other side.
Bum, bum, bum.
So they did all that just to see if somebody was breaking into the house.
And was somebody?
No, nothing would move in the house except Annabelle herself.
Okay.
Which is a little creepy. So one morning during a nice delicious brekkie, Annabelle's flimsy arms decide to lift up from the table and back down. Bitch is always hungry and want their snacks. Like, I would be pretty upset if I didn't have breakfast in front of me. Like, you know how women get. I get pretty hankry if I don't have my food, so ask Nick. So Lou, Angie's boyfriend, was taking a snooze on the couch one day, and he woke up paralyzed, like he couldn't move at all.
Like sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Okay.
And found Annabelle sitting by his feet at the other end of the couch. And she then started to crawl up his body. And once she arrived to his neck, she started to strangle him.
Oh, okay, not so sexy.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you're into that.
Yeah. Is that like a doll fetish? Who knows?
No, like autoerotic asphyxiation.
Like Quagmire. So he woke up the next day wondering if it was a dream or if it had actually happened. A few days later, he also heard noises coming from Donna's room while she was out. He thought somebody legitimately broke into her room. And he walks in, windows are all locked.
Did he knock
everything's
first?
shut. Oh, she was out. She wasn't home.
Yeah, but maybe she wasn't, and she was just, like, getting her groove on, and he just walked in.
Oh, no, but it, like, she...
He 100% knew she was out. Okay.
Yeah, like, she was like, okay, bye, I'm leaving, right?
Okay.
But the only thing he noticed when he looked around was that Annabelle was actually face down on the ground, and she was on the bed before Donna had left.
Okay. So how long has it been since they've had her now?
Well, we're getting there.
Okay.
So he said all of these incidents had to be bullshit and that she was just a harmless Raggedy Ann doll.
Non-believer.
Yeah, Sean the non-believer.
Sean the non-believer.
So he then picked her up and literally, like, hucked her across the room.
Yeet.
Hasta la vista, motherfucker. Only then he had a burning sensation all over his body. When he looked down at his shirt, there was fresh blood marks on it. He then lifted his shirt to see what was going on and found 7 scratches on his body. 4 were on his chest and 3 were on his stomach. And within 2 days, the marks had completely disappeared and healed themselves. They then contacted a medium around 4 to 6 weeks after all this stuff started to happen. So at this point, it's only been about, at most, 6 weeks past Donna's birthday.
Okay.
Since she's had Annabelle. The medium then held a seance, and she had contacted the spirit of a little girl within the doll named Annabelle. Some claims are that Annabelle is a 7-year-old girl who was found dead in a field on the property before the building was put there, like the apartment building they lived
Okay,
in.
so it's another ancient burial ground, but in a building there thing, just like the fucking Bell Bitch.
That's one of the theories, or like stories that have been told. The other one comes from Ed Warren himself, and he said that the medium that held the seance had told him that Annabelle, the medium had told the girls that Annabelle had died in a car crash just outside of their apartment building a few years ago. like, before all this happened. So the medium then told Donna and Angie that Annabelle was so very happy to be with them. She loved the attention, the care, the love that she was getting, that the girls would give her. They started feeling really bad for her spirit, right? Her little ghosty. So they decided to invite her into their house permanently.
Nope.
Yeah, you don't do that.
You don't invite demons in. No. Spirits, ghosts, demons. No.
So after that, she then started showing a lot of violent and disturbing actions, but Donna continued to treat her like a little girl or young child that she was.
Okay.
So months have gone by at this point, and they became so scared of all these things that Annabelle was doing, moving around the house, leaving notes, giving them like, when there's demons in your house, you get like bad dreams, the sleep paralysis, like what happened to Lou, even the marks, stuff like that. Like, it's just negative energy, right? And it really just, it doesn't work out well for everyone. So they ended up contacting a priest called Father Hegan, who then notified his superior, Father Cook, who contacted the famous Ed and Lorraine Warren. So the Warrens came to save the day, and they said that the doll was a host to a demon looking for a human to possess, and that the girls were within weeks of fully becoming possessed by this demon because they had already invited her in months prior, right? Mm-hmm. So all this energy and stuff, especially with Donna still treating her like a child, she was probably the main target of this, right?
So was it actually a little girl demon named Annabelle, or was it an actual, like, demon?
Well, I have a quote here from the Warrens. It said, "Spirits do not possess inanimate objects like houses or toys. They possess people. An inhuman spirit can attach itself to a place or object, and this is what occurred in the Annabelle case. The spirit manipulated the doll and created the illusion of being alive in order to get recognition. Truly, the spirit was not looking to stay attached to the doll. It was looking to possess a human host." Ed Warren also said, "Well, there is such a child, but God does not allow a child's spirit to go into a doll. This was a devil, a demon inside of the doll, which was impersonating the spirit of a child." And that's from the Seekers of the Supernatural. And I'm going to post the website that I got the other quote from on our website, like on the blog, just for credibility. So the Warrens had taken note of all the demonic activity that was going on in the apartment and asked Father Cook to cleanse the entire place and the girls and Lou with an exorcism. So Ed and Lorraine took Annabelle back to their occult museum, and the Warrens said within minutes of removing her from the house and the girls, activities started to happen to them, like weird shit. They chose to take the back roads home instead of the highway in case something really bad happened. Lorraine, she's a clairvoyant medium, right? She knew this was not something good. Like, it was a very dark entity within this. So they knew something bad was going to happen. Which is a good call on their part for taking the back roads instead of the highway, because their brakes decided to stall and fail on them multiple times on their drive home.
Sweet.
And they had almost had a fatal crash. Ed decided to pour holy water on top of Annabelle, and things stopped temporarily. So before they had the case made for Annabelle, Ed took her to the study, where they reported she would move around the house and they would find her levitated within the house. Fuck that shit.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
They even tried to lock her in a different building on the property, only to find her back in the house the next day, which is even more fucking sketchy. Like, goosebumps? No. Not about that. She now today remains in a wooden box that has been soaked in holy water and gets blessed regularly. On the box there is a warning sign that says positively do not touch, along with a devil tarot card.
Okay.
Ed has heard multiple times the organ that's in the museum playing, thinking somebody had broken, and when he would go to investigate, there would be no one in sight and the organ would stop playing. This happened about 3 times to them before Ed brought in a priest to bless the entire museum and the objects within it. And since then, nothing, the organ hasn't played since.
Okay.
Which is a little sketchy. Something's going on, right? So Lorraine refused to look at this doll at all because of the harm that it can inflict on people.
Yeah.
Even her daughter, to this day, Judy Warren, will not acknowledge the doll or look her in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Their son-in-law, Tony Serpa, said Annabelle is the one thing he is the most scared of within their museum.
Mm-hmm.
Tony he also runs the museum now for a few years now, even before Lorraine had passed. And he has had multiple offers from people to buy Annabelle. And not just for $1 million, but also $2 million. And he refuses to sell her and says he never will, because he will not release an evil like that onto this world.
Well, thank you, Mr. Serpa.
Bless your soul, we appreciate it. So, some other quick little creepy accounts that have happened. We're going to get into those near-death and fatal accidents that have happened.
Okay.
So, Ed invited a priest over to the museum one time, and this priest walked up to Annabelle, picked her up. He then mocked her and her powers, and as he threw her onto the ground, he claimed that God was more powerful than any devil or demon.
Okay.
Fucking stunned, which I would have been too, because I would have been terrified for my life at this point. Ed proceeded to warn said priest to please behave with Annabelle. Handle with care. Mm-hmm. And he shrugged it off. So later that day, he got into a very serious car accident with a tractor trailer, and said right before he had gotten into the accident, he had looked in his rearview mirror and saw her sitting in the back seat.
Now, for anyone who is not Canadian that doesn't know what tractor trailer is, it's sometimes also called a semi-truck or a transport truck, depending.
Mm-hmm. So, another account that had happened with Annabelle was a boy and his girlfriend came to the museum for a tour. By boy, I mean a legit man boy, because no man should be doing this to something this powerful. He then started poking the glass on Annabelle's case.
Don't poke the bear.
Pretty much. Mocking her behavior and powers, just like the priest did, along with people's belief in her powers.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He also challenged her to put scratches on him like she had done to others, because he thought the whole thing was hokum. Just pure baloney.
Okay.
Yep. Ed was very appalled by their behavior and asked them to leave because they were being extremely rude, which I would have told them to get the fuck out too. So they then took their little motorcycle back home. And on their way home, they were laughing about the doll. And they got into a very serious accident, to the point where this kid died instantly when he hit the ground.
Out. And
his girlfriend was in ICU for a very, very long time. She was severely injured. Mm-hmm. And they they said they were literally laughing about her right before the accident happened. So, I mean, I don't know what you think. I think there's something there, and I think maybe the precautions that they have taken with Bless in her case regularly, like, it gets blessed, I believe, I read every 2 to 3 months her case gets blessed, and which, I mean, should be more, let's be honest, but I mean, whatever they're doing is literally working. And I don't know if you guys think it's a hoax or not, or what, but...
Well, see, I knew the actual, like, true story about, I already, before this, a lot of the time with you, I don't know your stories, but this one I actually did know the real story of Annabelle.
It's a pretty well-known case, so, I mean, if you don't know of Annabelle...
Well, I mean, like, the actual, not the movie story.
Yeah.
I knew the real thing about her, the pretending to be a little girl
Yeah.
thing. I knew that whole thing. And, I mean... It's one of those few things where I really do believe that she's possessed, and I'm going to explain why. I wasn't a huge believer in it, you know, the whole doll thing. I've always been like, you know, objects and stuff. I've always not been a huge believer that stuff like that's possessed, and, you know, human possession, okay, I get it, but like inanimate objects, I used to always be very, very skeptical about it.
Well, and especially because Ed even said that, like, a demonic spirit can't possess an inanimate object, right?
Yeah, they always say objects are haunted and stuff, and like I was always very skeptical until, and we've mentioned them before, Ghost Hunters with Zach Baggins.
Oh, Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Adventures, thank you, Zach Baggins there. They did an episode on Annabelle, and watching him, like, they're a pretty honest show, you know, if nothing goes on, they tell you nothing happened in this place. You know, most ghost shows I also am very skeptical about, but them I'm pretty...
Me too.
I'm pretty believable with them, and the way that they showed him sitting there with... Have you seen this episode with them?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, sitting there with Annabelle.
It's been a while, but I have seen it.
And it was... They kept telling him, you know, don't touch her, you can't touch the doll. And, like, it was like something came over. You could see the exact moment where he changed.
It's like his eyes glaze over almost.
Yeah, like he just, like,
the same
went
thing happened
somewhere else. And his hand went and to touch her, and he touched her. And then they freaked out. And ever since then, I'm like, no, this doll is fucking, nah, no way.
Similar thing happened when he touched... the PTT doll. I don't want to say her name because that's a case for another day. She's another very scary doll.
The only two I know of is Annabelle and Robert.
Well, PTD was on his Deadly Obsessions, I think is what it's called, his other sideshow. Where he gets objects.
Oh yeah, his museum
in
thing.
his museum, right? And he had PTD, the owner, bring her on the show, and even like looking at her like on the thing, like through a television. I don't know if it's like a placebo effect, right, kind of thing, where you think it's just happening, or if it actually is. But, like, she can give you headaches, even, like, looking at, like, a YouTube video of her kind of thing. Like, and I've seen her in a lot of, like, top 10 videos and stuff like that on YouTube. And she's, every time, even talking about her right now, I'm getting a weird fucking headache going on. Like, it's fucking...
I've never heard of her, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say her name because I believe she's very powerful.
More than Annabelle?
Equal, probably. But that's a case for another day. But yeah, that episode with Zach, you see his eyes like glaze over, and yeah, it's kind of scary because it's like, well, is this actually real? And if not, like, their acting is like fucking mint, man. Like, holy shit.
And I feel like with her, there's just too much to be explained away, you know? Like
There's too much evidence to back up her case almost.
Like, I'm all for science disproving stuff, but there's certain things that just cannot be explained in the world. And that's where you come in and what you do.
It's what I'm here to help us all out with.
To educate.
Y'all can't see, but I totally just did finger guns as I said that.
'Cause she's a loser.
Because I'm a cool dad. Yeah, I'm a dad now. I got 3 fur babies.
You gonna start rocking that dad bod soon?
I probably say more dad jokes than Nick does. But, yeah, you know...
I'm a believer.
I'm a believer as well, but I mean, you know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, so it's really up to you guys.
Even if they're wrong?
It's up to you guys if you believe that she's real or a hoax. So we'll let you make that own judgment for yourself.
Yeah. All right. You can comment on our Facebook if you want. I'll make a post.
Yeah, we got a couple new things possibly coming up for our Patreon account as well, and we're sketching up some merch ideas to come out soon. And if anybody has any, suggestions, ideas that you want for stories, topics, even merch, email us at bloodgutsandbooze@gmail.com.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
and tell your friends to like
Share
and
the
subscribe
word,
to
guys.
us everywhere, and we appreciate all of your love and support that we've gotten these last few weeks already.
Yeah, we're doing a lot better than we thought. It's great.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
we love you, all of our fans. We love you guys
Yes,
so much.
The Boo Crew, you're great.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Special thanks to Dylan Sears for the theme song and Sally Gunter for the cover art. Support us on Patreon and like, share, rate, and subscribe to us on all of our social media pages and your podcast streaming service. Do you have any personal stories or suggestions for the show? Email us at bloodgutsandbooze@gmail.com.
Test 1, 2, 3. I'm very, very tired.
Bonjour. I need to try and speak quiet.